Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I, of course, am LJ Thomas, and this is South Carolina Gets Lit. Now, I got to tell you, today's show is special because I know I've been on hiatus, but I am back. And we have with us an author who is making a huge contribution to literacy, not book literacy like me, financial literacy. So pay attention as we talk to Terence Hover about his book, Money Matters Made Easy. Hi, Terence. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How you doing?
I am so good. I am so happy that you here. Look, that you here, like the kids say. They leave the verbs out. Anyway, as I said, your book is Money Matters Made Easy. And I know you have one for kids and you got one for teens. And I want to
Mhm.
find out what else you got because I went to the website and I saw some coloring books. I love color.
Yes.
So let's get started. I'm just gonna jump right in. Tell me what made you write the first one for kids.
The first book I wrote, well, the book that I wrote for the kids, the Money Matters Made Easy. I wrote that book. I have three kids of my own, 23-year-old, 21-year-old, and a 12-year-old. And I'm always talking to them about savings and credit and just using their money wisely. And and while I'm talking to them, they get irritated with me. They don't like that because I pinpoint all their accounts are linked to my bank account. So I
Oh,
so I know what they buy
oh,
and then I comment on it. So they don't like that. Um, but while I'm talking to them, I was taking notes, and I was originally just gonna do like some Facebook posts with about financial literacy, and it got to the point where I had so much information. I said, you know what? Let me put this in a book, um, and then once I did that, I said, let me make this a workbook. So that at the end of each chapter, there's questions about the chapter that they just read. And the reason why I did that was because as I was thinking about it, I was never told, and I know a lot of us are never told about financial literacy, about credit as we grow up.
oh.
So everything I learned by experience,
Trial and error, huh?
good or bad. It was
Right.
all experience. Um, and I know a lot of our parents and a lot of our family members, they don't take the time to let us know how important credit is, the value of money and savings and things like that. So I said, let me put this in a book, and that way parents can sit with the kids and work together with it.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes a lot of sense in doing it that way. I'm glad that I'm glad that you wanted to do something that most parents don't. Like you said, experience. That trial and error, good or bad, hey, sometimes
Yes.
it works out, sometimes it doesn't. And that's not always a good thing. But with you being a serial entrepreneur and author and an all-around tech guy, I think that what you have done is really pinpointed some things that people probably don't even think about in relationship to financial literacy.
Right.
Because when I thumbed through your workbook, I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I see some stuff in here that grown people don't even like some people that need this. We need to start some classes so we can go ahead and educate some folks because people just don't think about it. They
Yeah.
really don't think about it. And the fact that you started with kids and then moved on to teens, what made you decide to go to teens? Was it the age of your kids?
Um, what made me go to teens is that I was getting a lot of at the shop that I have, the tech shop. I was selling the books, and a lot of customers were asking me, "Do you have one for teenagers also?" Um, and I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? The one that I did for kids can be used for teenagers, but the teenage one, I specifically made it so that teenagers would enjoy it more. Because if you read through it or if you looked at it, you would see that it compares financial literacy to video games and such. So
Us.
that's how that came about.
Yeah, I like that too. And I saw even the graphics and things are different,
Yeah.
um, for a more mature audience. Let me say it that way. They don't want you to call them young. Your kids are a little younger than mine. My baby is 35.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah. So and she has a little one, a 5-year-old, and that little boy. That's my little buddy though. That's
Uh,
my little buddy. That's the one. That's why I need financial literacy because of him.
uh,
Because
he's in
because
your
he
pockets already, huh?
what? Let me tell you. Every time we're with him, the first thing he says is, "Grandma, we're going to the store." And I'm like, "What store are we going to?" "I don't know, Grandma, but are we going somewhere today?" We get in the car. Where we going? "We're going to the store, Grandma, right? Aren't we going to the store?" And then we get to the store. Okay, the store for him is the grocery store. Wants to go to the grocery store because grandma cooks. So, he has his list of things that we need to purchase at the grocery store.
Oh,
You know,
wow. And you said
when
he's
when we
5?
he is 5 years old, we get in the car. Grandma, you need to get some some carrots and don't forget the cucumbers and you need some salad and we need eggs, Grandma. We need eggs. I'm like, I came to get some sliced turkey. All I
Yeah.
really came to get. But this little kid has a list, and it's never the same thing. It's
Wow.
never the same thing. And you walk around the store with him, he points things out and stuff. Grandma, can we get, no, we cannot. Why not? I don't have any money. And I ask him all the time, I'll say, where's your money? Grandma, I don't have any money. Oh, you have a wallet? Yeah. Where's your wallet? It's at home. Well, then you know we were going to the store. Yeah. So why didn't you bring your wallet? Grandma, we're gonna spend your money.
Look, see, I started the like teaching my nephew. I have a nephew who's I want to say when I was 22, he was 12.
Mm-hmm.
So I would I would tell him about being, financial literacy and depending on people and spending money too, way back when. And so I I gave him one example is to never leave home and have to depend on somebody. So this one time we went to the movies,
Mm-hmm.
and when we got to the movies, I paid for the movie, and I told him to go get some treats, so, some popcorn and stuff. He didn't have no money on him.
Oh, so he's depending on you.
So yeah, so what I did was I bought me popcorn.
That's a lesson.
That's when the lessons start.
That's a lesson.
And occasionally during the movie, I would ask him, did he want some?
You're such a nice guy.
I know, right? So then when we left the movie theater, now we took the bus to this movie, right?
Okay.
So when we left, I thought about it and I was like, he's not paying attention to what I told him about having to depend on people. And I said, don't
Mm-hmm.
even depend on me. I'm not dependable. So what I did was instead of us taking the bus back home,
Mm-hmm.
we walked
Oh,
3 miles
oh, it's
in the
not a lot though.
summertime.
Well, in the summer it might be.
In New York, in the summertime, we walked 3 miles. And I would stop occasionally at a store and I would get myself something to drink.
This lesson is getting better and better.
Yeah, I would get myself something to drink and I wouldn't get him anything because I wanted to show him that, look, you can't even depend on me. So you should have
Mm-hmm.
never come out the house knowing you
That's
had
right.
money and left your
Mm-hmm.
money home because you thought that I was going to take care of you.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. That's a good lesson. I told my grandson he'll be here this. We're supposed to see him first weekend in October. I know, I know. When they get here, the first thing he's going to say is, "Grandma, are we going to the store?" "Yes, child, I'm going to the store." "Can I ride?" "Yes, child, you can ride." And I'm going to wait until we get in the car and ask him, "Do you have your money?" Because I know he wants something at the store. Oh, I told him the last time we were at the store, I said, "Look, I can't buy you anything." He was like, "Well, I don't have any money. I don't have a job. I don't have any money. I can't buy you anything. I only came to live on a fixed income. I came here to get certain stuff. I can't buy stuff for you. Because if I buy stuff for you, then I won't have money to buy stuff for me."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Well, we can use mommy money. She has a job." 5 years old. 5 years old. "We can use mommy money. She has a job." I said, "No, we can't use your mommy's money because your mommy's not here. We can't use her money." But it just goes to show you how smart these kids are
Yeah,
sometimes. And so
they're
the
very
fact that
smart.
the fact
And,
that
and
you're
this is why we got to start early with them.
exactly
Teach them that, we don't just give money. You
right,
have to work for it. You have to
right.
do some chores. You have to do this. You have to,
Mhm.
show me your grades in school. And it's a reward. It's not something that I'm just going to give you because you want it. You have to earn it and you have to value it.
Exactly. I remember and my kids are going to hate me for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway, and they could be mad later. But when my kids were little in elementary school, I decided when they were probably, my oldest was probably in the third grade. They're 2 years apart, so third grade and first grade. I would go to the thrift stores and get their clothes for school. Now, I did that on purpose because in the early 90s, it was all about the name brands and, them having this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids would come home and complain, "Mommy, I want this and I want that." And I'm like, "Does your clothes have holes in them?" "No." Are they torn or dirty or anything?" "No." "Did you learn today at school with those clothes on?" "Yeah." "Did you go hungry?" "No." "So what's the difference between their clothes and your clothes?"
Mm-hmm.
"Well, their clothes are name brand clothes." "Exactly. But do you know that those name brand clothes cost so much more than your clothes?" And I said, "Let me show you something." So every weekend, my husband, he worked really hard, but he made sure that he took us out of town every weekend. So we had little mini vacations all the time. I mean, every weekend we
Mm-hmm.
went somewhere. Fast forward until my kids had grown up. My youngest daughter came to me. She goes, "Mommy, She said, I thought we were so poor when we were little. I said, why did you think we were poor? We had a house, two cars, a dog,
Hmm.
and we went out to eat all the time. Why did you think we were poor? She said, because we always got our clothes from the thrift store. I said, not always, but yeah. I said, you don't realize why you got your clothes? She said, but mommy, I realized we weren't poor. I said, what made you realize we weren't poor? She said, because we were on vacation all the time. I
Right,
said, exactly. I said, you know why we were on vacation all the time? She said, why? I said, because I could afford to do that because you were getting your clothes from the thrift store. But I guarantee you, the people who were wearing the name brand stuff never went on vacation.
right.
I said, and think about all the experiences that you guys had traveling to every state on the East Coast and the Southeast that your friends didn't.
Hmm.
She said, I never thought about it like that. So with her son, she doesn't spend a lot of money on him. She doesn't go to thrift stores. She doesn't take it that far, but she's very frugal about how she spends
Hmm.
money and they vacation all the time. She
Right,
said that's something that you and dad instilled in us that was really important, and I like the way you did it.
right. Experiences, life
Mm-hmm.
experiences, and they can go to school, and most of their friends, majority of them probably never been to this place,
Right.
probably won't go to this place.
Probably might not have ever gone out of the city,
Yeah.
and especially if it's a big city and there's a lot to do. You don't think about traveling outside. It's interesting what the mindset is for people who um have the means financially to do things in a better way, but don't really think about it.
Hmm.
And I think that's where your series of books comes in
Right.
because since it's a workbook, it forces people to think about the decisions that they make on how it is that they're going to spend their money and what they're going to spend their money on, what they can do with it now and in the future. And I just feel like that is key for us to have a better society, for us to be better at whatever
Yeah.
we do. Did I get it? I got it right. I
You got
got
it right.
it.
But and not only that, it's not the book doesn't just talk about financial literacy. It talks about philanthropy, helping people.
It
It
does.
helps, it talks about building critical thinking, making better decisions, and it all comes together.
It does. I love this book. If this had been out when my kids were little, oh my goodness. Mind you, I have a 35-year-old and a 37-year-old. They are both entrepreneurs. Both of them are they're very creative people. They're just creative people.
Mhm.
And they have taken those creative talents and used them to make money. Both of them have gotten into graphic design. My husband says that's my fault because I'm a freelance graphic designer. It's just something that I like doing. And I guess the kids saw me doing it and so they fell into it as well. That's cool, but I find it really interesting how all these years I've been doing things that I like to do. For instance,
Mhm.
not just the graphic design, but writing, reading, writing, publishing, all this. I just like doing stuff like that, but I
Right.
found a way to turn it into something to make money. My husband says to me a couple of days ago, he goes, the kids are so much like you. I have daughters. He said, they're so much like you. And I was like, why? He said, they're so creative. I said, they get their creativity from you because we ain't gonna talk about what he does. But anyway, it's a lot. So, but he said, no, they get it from you. He said, they have watched you all these years. They have watched your grind as far as doing the things that you like to do and how you
Hmm.
have turned those things into a way for you to make money. And that's why you are the serial entrepreneur
Yes.
queen in the family. said that's where the kids get it from. I thought they
That,
got it from hell.
that's like with my daughter. My daughter is she is the most like me, the 21-year-old. And since she was in middle school, she would get stuff like she would order stuff off eBay
Mm-hmm.
for pennies
Mm-hmm.
and sell it at school.
Sweet.
Like she found a way to sell her used clothes to websites to make
Oh,
money.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. That's good. A lot of people are doing that now, but there's a way to do it.
Yeah,
Always there's a way.
she was doing that as a, as a teen. And I had to stop her a couple of times because she tried to sell my sneakers.
Well,
And
Dad,
I'm like,
you could get
no.
X amount of money for these. These are
Right.
retro,
He's
Dad.
like, no, no, not those.
I can hear it now, Dad. These are retro. You get a lot of money for these.
Right. Like, no, we'll keep those.
Uh-huh.
Only
Uh-huh.
sell your
But
stuff.
uh-huh. Uh-huh. But somebody else's stuff is always better. You make me you keep your stuff, make money off their stuff, good mindset. But it's interesting how kids are very smart. It just goes to show you how even at a young age they have that
Hmm.
entrepreneurial spirit in them, and they don't even realize it sometimes.
No, they don't even realize it. They don't realize it. And
Yeah.
the thing is, I didn't even realize that I was that much of an influence on them in what I was doing. And because for some reason they didn't think I worked.
Dad doesn't have a job.
Right, because I've always worked for myself. So, and
Mm-hmm.
it was always something, along the fun route or along the creative route. So they saw
Mm-hmm.
me doing stuff that I love to do and
Right.
that I enjoy doing, and that I would do it without making money. But it just
Right.
so happens I was talented enough to make money off of what I love to do.
Right. Right. I understand. My oldest grandson, we took a trip. He used to travel with us all the time. Oh my goodness, he'll be 13 in December. But when he was about, let's say about 4 years old, we used to live in Atlanta, and we used to come back to South Carolina all the time, where I currently live in South Carolina. And so he was traveling with us, and we stopped at the gas station to get gas. And my husband went in, get little snacks and stuff before we hit the road, right? My grandson's sitting in the back seat. He goes, Grandma, what kind of snacks is Grandpa getting? I said, why didn't you go in with Grandpa so you could find out? Well, Grandma, I'm tired. I don't want to get out of the car. Okay, fine. So you'll see when Grandpa gets back in the car. And then he goes, well, how much is the snacks? So you asking so many questions. He is 4 years old now. Four. Finally, he says to me, Grandma, I don't know. He said, I don't know about this trip. He said, I don't. Why are we going to? I'm telling you, if you heard the conversations I used to have with this kid, I said, we're going to South Carolina because Grandma has some business to take care of. He goes, what kind of business do you have in South Carolina? He said, Grandma, you can't have any business. You don't have a job. So at 4 years old, this kid goes, Grandma, I don't know about this trip. And I'm like, what you mean you don't know about this trip? Why are we going to South Carolina? He goes, and I'm like, what do you mean? Why are we going to South Carolina? Well, Grandma, everybody's in Georgia. Why are we going to South Carolina? I said, because Grandma has some business in South Carolina. This was the kicker, what he says next. Okay. He goes, Grandma, you don't have a job. What kind of business do you have in South Carolina? I said, oh, Grandma doesn't have a job. He said, no, Grandma, I never see you go to work. You never have a job. You don't work, Grandma. Look, my husband comes back and gets in the car with a bag full of snacks. My grandson looks at him and goes, Grandpa, you pay for the snacks, right? My husband goes, yeah. The little boy goes, look, at this point, he's a little boy, not even my grandson. At this point, the little boy goes, but Grandma says she has business in South Carolina. And Grandpa goes, she does. He said, what kind of business does she have? She doesn't have a job. My husband goes, well, hon, let me tell you, your grandmama is paying for this trip. And
Yeah,
my grandson goes, wait, she doesn't have a job. She doesn't have a job. And my husband says, damn, sweetheart, whenever you see your grandma on your computer, I promise you, she's working. It just looks like it's fun for her because she loves doing it. But that's your grandma's job on her computer. She does stuff
hmm,
all the time. And my grandson was like, Grandma, you got a job? Yes, sweetheart, grandma has a job. So from that moment on, when we got back home to Atlanta, he would see me on my computer and he would go, Grandma, what you doing? I'd be like, I got work to do. So he started up a little song, work to do, work to do. It's like, oh my goodness. But he got it, he got
yeah,
it. And so he learned that just because I'm on my computer doesn't mean that I'm not working,
right,
and that what I like to do is fun for me, and that I have found a way to be able to make money
right.
doing what I like to do. So, so much so that he's doing the same thing. He's a little entrepreneur in the making. He has a
That,
line of bracelets that he makes and sells with a
oh wow,
website. He is working on becoming a animator.
wow.
Right. Look, he mixes audio and edits audio and video, and he's 12 years old.
Well,
I'm like, okay, look at him
yeah,
following in people's
that's
footsteps.
great. And then,
Mhm.
you have to let them know that the more entrepreneurial and successful he becomes, the more freedom he has.
Right.
And that's what I loved about being an entrepreneur is that it allowed me the freedom to be involved in my kids' life and to
Right.
do things with them that the typical, 9 to 5 parent couldn't do.
Right. 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 And I know for my kids, it was very interesting for them because their father always had a 9 to 5, either he worked first shift or second shift, and sometimes they would get upset because they would want to come home and do certain things with him, but they couldn't because either he was
Hmm.
tired or he had to go to work or whatever. But it was completely different for me. Mommy was always available 24/7, even in my sleep. I'm always available because mommy doesn't have a job. I don't have a job. I just cook and clean up the house and haul the kids all over the place and volunteer at school. That's do and play on my computer. That's all I
That's one
do.
of your jobs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's um it's nice to be able to do that. Like you said, being an entrepreneur gives you the freedom to be able to do other
Hmm.
things. And I really feel like the society that we live in now, especially in the United States of America, there are so many people who have skills and talents and things that could help them. Um, how do I want to say this? Okay, like this. I know people who have 9 to 5s and they complain all the time. I'm not making enough money. I'm
Hmm.
not making enough money. But they have this little hobby on the side that they really like doing. And it's really good. They do really good stuff. But do you think they'll start a business doing that hobby? No,
Well, the what I realize is that being an entrepreneur is not for everyone.
it's not.
And you have to there's there are times where I didn't make money for a month,
Mm-hmm.
but and that taught me how to be good with money because I
Right.
know that okay, so I made February I made this amount of money. March is kind of slow. So it taught me how to, save money and how to
Mhm.
prioritize. And that's good for, that's what kids need to know also is that, just because you're an entrepreneur doesn't mean that you're going to make money every day,
It
every week.
doesn't. Hmm. It doesn't.
You
It
might
doesn't.
have a low period
Right?
and then
You might.
you have to figure it out.
Yeah, you got to
You
be creative.
you have to be creative.
That's what I call it. So you have a book for kids and one for teens. Do you have Money Matters Made Easy for Adults?
Yeah. I have a book for adults. It's called Mind, Body, and Financial Literacy,
Uh-huh.
Navigating the Intersection of Wellness and Wealth.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And this book, it talks about being financially literate alongside being health conscious because
Uh-huh.
you can be, you can have all the financial literacy in the world, but if your health is not up, good, you can't enjoy, the money you make and the freedom you have.
Right. You're right.
So that book, I just published that book in I want to say October.
Okay.
September, yeah, beginning of September. That book
Okay.
was just published. We're just in
Okay.
October now. So the September 1st, that book was published. And it's doing
All
pretty good.
right. Okay. Okay. So for everybody, adults, teens, and the kiddos,
Yes.
cover the whole gamut. Everybody.
Cover everything.
Okay. Now, the fun part for me, the coloring books.
All right. So let me tell you about the coloring book. So the first books that I self-published were the coloring books. The first one was Diversity, it's called Diversity Kids.
Mhm.
And it's a coloring book with different nationalities of kids.
Okay.
And then the second one was uh, called uh, Castles of the World.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a coloring book about uh, different castles throughout the world, throughout the time.
Okay.
Now, how I got into doing this was, and the this is this story. I haven't told anybody this story,
Oh,
so you're the
exclusive.
first one to know. So
Tell exclusive.
I build websites, you know, as a trade, and I
Mm-hmm.
had a client who was a stern. This guy's about 70 something years old, straight Trump supporter, straight Republican, older white guy,
Okay.
and he would call me to his house, and I would help him with his computers and stuff. And every time I went over his house, I would have to. He had a TV on every wall in his house, and every TV was on Fox News. So,
Okay.
I try to stay away from political and religious talk.
Me
So
too.
we had a good relationship. And one day I was at his house and he showed me these journals that he made. And so then he was telling me how he did it. And he said, this is his words were, Terrence, buddy, he called me buddy. He said, buddy, this is my retirement right here. So he is the one who showed me how to self-publish.
Ah.
So never, you know, always keep
Hmm.
your mind open.
Right.
Just because you have a different outlook on political, religious, or anything, it may be different, but there's always something you can learn from someone.
That is true.
So the next time I came to his house, he sat with me for about 3 or 4 hours and showed me step by step by step of how to self-publish my own books.
Okay.
So the first books I published were the coloring books.
Ah, okay.
So I published those books while I was teaching my kids and talking to them about financial literacy.
Hmm.
And then while I was doing that, it dawned on me that, hey, I can be more effective by publishing a book about financial literacy. I have all the notes. I have everything that I written down and kept track of that I was going to use for, memes on social media and Facebook. Let me
Right.
take this information and put it into this book.
Wow. And the
And
book is born.
that's how the financial literacy book came about because I was publishing coloring books and I wanted to do something that was that was that would make more of an impact.
Right. Wow. See how, and it all goes full circle.
And it all goes full circle.
Hmm.
Yes.
Nice. Very nice. Very, very nice. I am, wow. Wow. I'm truly impressed. Truly impressed. I am. I am. I'm a um I'm a self-publisher as well. I have a few titles. I'll do a show about that one day. Not today though. And and when I tell my story about how I got into that, people are going to look at me like I'm crazy because it was because of my kids driving me nuts about a book. But that's life. Um, I think it's interesting to me how when you look on, say, Amazon, for instance, there are hundreds of thousands of books on there, and some of them are really good. Some of them
Yeah. So,
not so
so just to
much.
just to let me interject this is that on Amazon, Money Matters Made Easy is one of the top selling books for parents who homeschool their kids.
See, see, because that's a good curriculum.
Yes.
That's a great curriculum. And it makes it easier for parents to be able to teach their kids because you got everything. I mean, you got everything in there.
Yeah.
I thumbed through that book and I was like, oh my goodness, I can't wait for my grandson to see this. For them, I can't wait for them to see this. And then I have my youngest daughter um has this teenage girl. She's like 13. She really needs this book. She really needs this book because she thinks everybody else's pockets are her pockets and they're
Uh,
bottomless.
yeah, yeah. See that, and that's where it comes in and showing them the value of money
Hmm.
because a lot of us we don't value it, and I didn't
Right.
learn to value money until late in life because for me money always came, so it always came, and it was always there, so I would spend it just as fast as I got it
Hmm.
because I didn't value what I was getting and value
Because you
what I
could
was
get it
doing.
easy. Yeah, because you could get it easily, so it didn't hold any value for you.
Right. So it didn't hold any value to me. If I made $1,000 today, I'll spend $2,000 tomorrow.
Wow.
But that was the younger me.
Right. Right.
But once, responsibility kicked in, I had to
Mm.
learn that, okay, you need a security blanket.
Yeah. Yeah. A
Things
security
pop
thing.
up. Things,
Hmm.
things unexpected, unexpected things happen. So you
Yeah.
need to be able to take care of those things and still pay your regular bills and live your
Right.
regular life.
Right. Life happens.
And that's what
Like,
I tell my kids all the time is that life happens. So
mm-hmm.
if you go out and spend $300 on these sneakers today, and then tomorrow you need $100 for something, what are you going to do?
Right.
You
You
just
blew it on
spent
some
all the
sneakers.
money you had on this on these sneakers
Mm-hmm.
that you already got scuffed up.
It took an afternoon. Right.
Right. So so they lost the value as soon as you bought them,
Mm-hmm.
and then you scuffed them up, so they're not even valued at what you could have got from them.
Right. Right. No, powerful lessons.
Yeah. Like I
Powerful.
bought last year, I bought a pair of sneakers. I'm a sneakerhead too.
Are you?
Yeah. So I bought a pair of sneakers off of eBay for I want to say $400.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't buy them to wear.
Ah.
I bought them for the resale of it.
Ah, got you.
So these same sneakers that I bought, they were like Jordan 1 off-whites.
Oh, the collector's item.
Right. So I wore them one time
Mm-hmm.
and then I sold them for $800.
Yeah, so that's double the
And I, and
profit.
I and I showed my son and my daughter, like, okay, there's nothing wrong with you buying expensive stuff, but make
Mm-hmm.
sure that if you decide to, it has a resale option on it
Right.
where you can
Right.
get the money, you can enjoy what you bought, and once you're tired of it or you once you decide you want to move on, you can resell it, get the money you paid for it back, and still
Right.
make money on it.
Right. That's a good lesson. That's a very good lesson. So tell me, what do you have coming up?
Right now, I'm doing different. I've been visiting schools
Okay.
and talking to kids in schools, a couple charter schools in New York, a couple high schools down here in Atlanta. They've
Mhm.
had me come out and speak with the kids. The city of Atlanta just bought 1,000 books to give out to kids during their summer of youth.
Okay.
So they bought the books and they're giving them out to them. And right now I'm just on the market, going to different schools, talking to the kids, talking to teachers, and working on my next book.
Working on your next. Oh, so we have another book that's coming out?
Yeah, we have another one.
Okay, I'll be talking to you. I'll be talking to you. Literacy is I guess that's my passion. You know, I've been a lover. My husband calls me a lover of words. And I've been like that ever since I can remember. I mean, I started reading early in life apparently,
Hmm.
and I was one of those kids back in the 70s. At the end of the school year, the teachers give you the books that they're not going to use the following year. Every summer I came home with a bunch of books, and it just got to the point where my mother was like, whatever, I'm not even gonna say anything because whatever. And look, and during the summer I was reading those books. Was reading those textbooks during the summer. I sure was. So I've just I've always loved reading. I've always loved writing, and I guess that's why that is so important for me in my life. And that's a part of the reason why I have a literacy program and I do this show to help bring exposure to authors and books because I want people to be able to get those things and use them. But a new book coming out. Yay, I'm excited.
Yeah. But the Money Matters Made Easy book, that book is so important for our youth because it teaches them the value of money. It teaches them about critical thinking and making decisions, better decisions. It teaches them about saving. It teaches them about philanthropy. And it's
Right.
something that the parents and the kids could sit down and do together.
Right. Right. And that's really important because it that has a huge impact on children when their parents learn with them and they do
Mhm.
the work and the lessons and stuff together, it sticks more, you know.
Right.
So I love that. What where can people purchase these books?
You can purchase it on Amazon.com.
Mm-hmm.
Search for Terence Hover, and all my books will come up. Or
Mm-hmm.
you can go to my website, moneymattersmadeeasy.org.
Okay.
And
.org.
then on Facebook, it's Money Matters Made Easy.
Okay.
And on Instagram, it's uh, money underscore matters underscore made underscore easy.
Got you. The underscore between each word. Got you.
Yeah,
Okay.
underscore between each word.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's good. So we'll be looking for you and your next book. I'd like for you to come back and talk to us about your next book, please, sir. And thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. We have really enjoyed it.
Thank you for having me.
You are very welcome. Remember, everyone, reading is a whole new world. Please take advantage of it. Read and expand your mind. Thank you for joining us today. I'm LJ Thomas, and this has been South Carolina Gets Lit. And I'll be talking with you soon. Bye.
All right, thank you. Bye bye.